In this video, I will explain everything you need to know for installing the piping for your underfloor heating system. First, let's start with the preparation. If you have a slab on the ground or a basement, you will start with insulation. There are 3 types of insulation that you will find more frequently on a site: sprayed urethane insulation, rigid insulating panels, then insulating panels with cavities, also called isorad. The building code will require a minimum thermal resistance of R10, so you need to comply. First, let's start with sprayed urethane. You will need to spread the urethane directly on the ground. Then, lay down the metal meshes. Then, afterwards, you will install the piping directly onto the wire mesh using tie wraps. The second one is the rigid insulation panels. The insulation panels are generally 2 feet wide by 8 feet long by 2 inches thick. They interlock with each other. So directly on the ground, you will interlock your insulation panels side by side. On top, you will lay a polyethylene vapor barrier. Then, you will lay the metal mesh over the polyethylene to then install the piping using tie wraps directly on the mesh. The last one is the panels with cells. Generally, they are 4 feet wide by 4 feet wide. The difference is that you will have to start by installing the vapor barrier directly on the ground and fit the panels on top of the vapor barrier. Then, you will be able to run the piping between the cells. For that type of insulation, you won't necessarily need a metal mesh. It's your concrete supplier who will tell you if you need it to strengthen your slab. If you choose rigid insulation or the one with cells, what I recommend is to buy retardant rods. There are certain places where you will have to make holes to let the pipes pass that come out of the ground or sometimes go around a column. Well, fill your spaces with urethane to optimize insulation. With this type of insulation, you will also need to install a vapor barrier. In fact, you will unroll strips of polyethylene. Then at the junction, well, put tuck tape to seal properly. The hole. What I also recommend is to raise the polyethylene on the wall along the exterior walls so that the junction of the polyethylene also meets that of the exterior wall for better sealing. Once all that is done, before installing your pipes, get some spray paint to mark all the partitions and door openings. It will make zoning easier for you. Moreover, you will be able to better navigate around the partitions to avoid nailing into them. If there are 2 or 3 places where you go under the partitions, well, you can identify them before pouring the concrete. Now let's move on to installing the piping on the floors. There are 2 methods that are most commonly seen on sites. The main one is installing the pipes on the plywood. Then, they will pour a slab of concrete about 1.5 to 2 inches thick. It is the concrete installer who will recommend the thickness you need, based on the area you need to cover, and the type of concrete. His goal is to ensure that your concrete does not crack. For the installation of plumbing, what I recommend is to first install a vapor barrier directly on the plywood. It can go up along the exterior walls, to make everything waterproof. At the same time, it can protect your patio doors, the bottom of the patio doors, when the concrete is poured. Once the vapor barrier is installed, you will be able to secure the piping with G-clips directly on top. The second way to do the pipe installation, we will encounter more in renovations. Basically, it's installing runs back and forth between each joist underneath the plywood. In this video, I will focus only on the installation of pipes that are embedded in this concrete slab. We might return in a following video to discuss this type of installation, more commonly seen in renovation. That completes the video. If you enjoyed it, I invite you to check out our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about some of our products, I strongly invite you to visit our online store. With that, have a great day.